Good evening, good evening. Brother, can you hear me fine? Okay. I am trying something new today, y'all, tonight. So I'm excited about it. Tonight I have an amazing queen. You all have saw her before. She supported Free Your Mind podcast, and she's also been on Spotlight with Freda before. She is a queen. On mental health awareness. And as you know, July is National Minority Health Awareness Month. And we're going to end the month with talking about a great conversation. And she's going to share information with us. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you for being a part of Spotlights with Freda and joining us tonight. Spotlights with Freda is about um, resource networking, inspiration, testimonies. And tonight we're going to learn some great information. And before we get started, I also let this queen introduce herself before we get started.
I'm looking to see if I see it, Freda.
Okay.
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
I know it said live up there. You know what? Let me see if it's on the.
Okay.
What's your YouTube? Because you had it set for YouTube and
And Facebook.
mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I
What's your?
see. I see us on there. You still can't see it.
I wonder why it's like. Cause you know that's how it was last
Yeah.
time. You could
Huh?
see it, but nobody. The rest of us couldn't.
Oh, you still can't see it.
I'm looking at see if I can find you on YouTube now.
Let's see.
Okay, YouTube is live. I found you on YouTube. Did you turn Facebook on? Well, you see it on Facebook though, don't you?
Yeah, I can see it on Facebook.
Or
Yeah,
we just keep going. I can't. I got it on YouTube.
it's on public. What in the world? I say what?
You see it on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, look. Look, I'm trying something new tonight, you all. Uh, it's showing somebody with us. Let's see.
It's okay. You can keep going.
Okay. So tonight, again, we're speaking in this month on National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And I have this beautiful queen here. She's going to share some information because this is her field. Uh, she she is the queen of mental health awareness. So she's going to enlighten us on the different as far as a minority mental health awareness. And first, before we get started, you just introduce yourself, and then we go from there.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on Spotlights again. It's been probably been about what 2 years because I think Frederick and I did it a while back talking about
Yes.
mental health. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Loranda Fry. I currently work for Office of Mental Health, formerly known as the Department of Mental Health, here in Spartanburg, and we cover Spartanburg, Cherokee, and Union counties. However, I am not here tonight as a representative of them because I may say things that may not be necessarily what is the values or the mission of our office. Not that it would sway too far from it, but just to let people know that I'm not here tonight as a representative of them. This is not work. Let me say that. I am off the clock. But yeah, I am a clinic director for the Office of Mental Health in the Union County, and again, we cover Spartanburg, Cherokee, and Union counties. I am also a mental health advocate. So and that's the capacity that I would operate in tonight is just someone that wants to be a voice for those who feel as if they are voiceless and to educate the community as best that I can so that we can decrease the stigma that is attached to mental health or mental illness.
Yes. Yes, and something interesting that I wanted to bring up that I saw, um, it was showing that most minorities have lower access to care, less likely to receive mental health services. Is that true?
Statistics show that research has, there is some research that backs that up. Just from personal experience, I do know that a lot of individuals that are people of color, or often you will hear the term BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, and other no, people of color. I keep getting that mixed up. Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC. So those individuals seem to be the ones that we look at that say they are less likely to engage in treatment for their mental illness due to, whether it's because of culture, whether it's because of lack of resources, lack of the opportunity to get to those resources, lack of education, lack
Right.
of funding, no insurance or underinsured. And so those are some of the factors that you look at for when we're looking at BIPOC or people of color who tend to not receive those services.
Wow. So this is something that has been going on
Oh yeah.
with the minority.
Oh yeah.
Um, and also too saying minorities often face unique stressors like systemic, well, of course you say racism,
Hmm.
discrimination, socioeconomic disparities, cultural stigmas, and surrounding mental health. So is it any, like when it comes to racing awareness, what, I mean, how can, do you think one day that would change?
That's the hope. And hope is looking forward to things that you're expecting. And so I truly do expect and hope dearly that we are able to decrease the lack of resources, the lack of opportunities, or um, the ability to get those resources, to increase education, because I think that's a big piece. That's a huge part of the puzzle, is not knowing. And when you there's the old cartoon GI Joe, knowing is half the battle. So you know half of it if you just get the information, and we know information is power. So being able to know, to recognize the signs, not just in others but also within yourself,
Mhm.
knowing what to do when you do recognize those signs, and knowing that you're not alone. Culture plays a big part in why individuals, BIPOC or individuals of color, minorities, do not seek help. As an African American female, and on different platforms that you and I have been on, one of the main themes for those of us of color is what goes on in our house, stay in our house.
Place in the house,
And that's a
right?
big culture factor of why individuals don't seek help.
Wow, wow, yeah, that narrative, that has always what has been, what goes on in the house stays in the house. So right, right, I totally agree with that. Now, as far as like community support, it says that how organizations and individuals can play a vital role in supporting minority communication by providing education, advocacy, and resources. So, is there some type of like class or something available to introduce them to that?
You have a lot of organizations and agencies that exist within the community, and that in itself is a big part of why people don't seek services, because they don't know. Like, you have
Right.
NAMI, which is National Alliance for Mental Illness. We do have a chapter here in Spartanburg, and I'm not sure they're out there throughout the states, but I do know that we have a chapter here in Spartanburg that serves Spartanburg and Union counties, and they're trying to get into Cherokee County. You have Mental Health America. We have a chapter here in Spartanburg that a lot of individuals don't know, and when they have events, it bothers me to see that the numbers are so low from the community. And a lot of it is because they just don't know that these agencies or organizations exist. SAMHSA is another one, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They
Mhm.
are a group that tries to provide information and education and get individuals connected with resources. Then you have your community mental health. agencies, such as Spartanburg Area Mental Health Center. And then within the state of South Carolina, we have community mental health centers all over throughout the counties in South Carolina. So the fact that we have resources, it's
Mm.
just that people don't know about them. It's
Don't
what
know
they
about
say,
them.
the best kept secret.
Wow, wow. Well, tonight they can hear those resources
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
have provided them resources. Um, so, and as far as contacting, so they can just look up those.
yeah. I mean, if you go to Google, and Google is my friend, you put in
Mhm.
NAMI, NAMI, it'll pop up. And NAMI is in multiple states. You can put in SAMHSA, which is SAMHSA, and they're in multiple states as well. You can put in, we've changed our name. We used to just be Department of Mental Health, but here lately we've merged with DAOTAS and with developmental disabilities. So now it would be the behavioral health, behavioral health and developmental disorders. Yeah, I'm gonna get it right.
Okay,
It's
okay,
a lot. The behavioral health and developmental disorders, and you can look that up. And it's the three agencies: DAOTAS, which is substance abuse, mental health, and then developmental disorders, which would be for us like Charles Lee or Department of Disability and Special Needs is what it used to be called.
wow, okay, okay,
And
okay.
then amongst those, you do have like your crisis lines that you can call. One of the ones that we just encourage individuals to call is 988. It used to have your normal phone number, but now it is simplified to 988. And you don't have to be having suicide ideation or having suicidal thoughts. But if you're just in crisis, you need to talk to somebody. I like to encourage teens to reach out to that line because you can text it. You can text to 988 and they'll provide a trained clinician to walk you through whatever crisis you might be in.
Oh
And family
wow.
members can call on behalf of a loved one that might be in crisis as well.
Oh, they can, so they will talk to.
Hmm.
Oh wow. Okay,
And then
that's
you
my first
have
time ever hearing
mobile
that.
crisis, which is through the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disorders, formerly known as the Department of Mental Health, now known as Office of Mental Health. But they have a service called Mobile Crisis where it is 24/7. Holidays, 2 o'clock in the morning. I myself have participated in that where if you have a loved one that is having a mental health crisis, meaning that they are to the point of having suicide ideation or even homicidal ideation, they're
Mhm.
assaultive, they're combative, they're aggressive, two clinicians come out. They also call law enforcement, and that's just for the safety of the clinicians, but
Um,
to try to de escalate the situation. If hospitalization is needed, we'll assist with them going to the hospital or giving them information so that they can go to the nearest community clinic the next day to receive services.
oh wow. Oh, that's good. Okay.
You know what?
So the as far as the reducing the stigma of like having open conversations about mental health, like
Mhm.
using respectful language and challenging negative perceptions are crucial for reducing stigma and encouraging to help and seeking. Um, so do you have you found in your field, do anyone actually are they open to having conversations for
Some
help?
are, some aren't.
Some are and some aren't.
Some are, but I wanted to back up freedom
Hmm.
because July is considered National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And I know a lot of people don't realize where that actually comes from. And that came from a young lady. Her name was Bibi Moore Campbell, and they created this month in support of or in her legacy because she was an advocate for mental illness. She's an author. She wrote several books regarding mental illness. I have myself personally have not read the books, but the title of the books were quite interesting. But that was her passion, and she wanted to see equality for people of color, and so that's where this month originated from.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't know. That's my first time hearing that. Right? Let's see. What about the as far as like the different language barriers?
Yes, that is one that here recently I've recognized and experienced. We do have. We were at an event at TK Gregg. It was a back to school event this past Saturday, and there
Hmm.
were a lot of Ukrainians there.
Hmm.
So, and I've heard that we've had a lot of individuals that have come into the Department of Office of Mental Health in Spartanburg that have that background, Ukrainian background.
Wow.
Obviously, it is hard, that barrier, because one, if I don't speak that language, it's hard for me to understand. If they don't speak my language, it's hard for them to understand me. And then that barrier, that in between, that interpreter is useful. And I mean, and we do the best that we can when that happens. But sometimes information might get missed in the midst of that. But we do have access to interpreters through a phone line, that when individuals come in that speak a different language outside of English, that we can have that.
Oh, wow.
They are,
Wow.
again, we won't turn you down. We'll figure it out.
Yes, and
We'll
that's
figure it
that's awesome. That is awesome. And especially for us Ukrainian,
Yeah,
because sometimes you can't find a lot of people that actually
and
speak
speak that.
Ukrainian.
Hmm. But and when you think about inequalities when it comes to people of color, Hispanics, and it's not a secret what the Hispanic population is going through now when it comes to deportation. So
Right.
if they are not a legal citizen and seeking services, that in itself may keep them from seeking services for that fear that if I go in there, I'm going, or would go wherever, I may be deported or have to go
Right.
through those, that process of proven one way or another, or if not just them, their loved ones, anybody that might be connected to them, because they feel like now this light is being shined on them.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
And then when you think about the African American population, I think a lot of that for us is shame. I don't want nobody to think, and it comes down to those terms of to think I'm crazy.
Right. Right.
So I'm gonna, and then you culturally pray it out, pray it away. You just need Jesus.
Right.
And so, as a mental health professional, you have to be open minded. You have to lay aside not necessarily lay aside, but you can't let your values and your beliefs block you from being able to assist and help somebody else and try to provide the best services for them. Um, as a person of faith, yes, I believe in prayer. I believe in, you know, laying on of hands and all of that.
Yes.
However, I feel as if God has blessed others to assist us with our healing, whether it be physical or mental. He has allowed individuals to go to school to get the education and experience needed to help individuals wherever it is that their health may be failing them.
Mhm. Wow. That's awesome. That's good information. The another thing too I saw where the lack of let's see, could have said no, not that one. Oh, that the study shows that minority groups are less likely to receive mental health. Uh, and it's comparing to like, well, non-race versus our race.
Mhm.
That there. So why do you think that? I mean, that is it's
Because of the color, because of the stigma that goes along with it, because of experiences. And again, I think it just goes back to lack of information and not being educated on what mental health is. And
right.
we think of mental health as what it was when you wore the straight jackets, and again, you were in these asylums, and true enough, those were some days when things like that did happen. But
Right.
now where we are is different. Like the assistance and the resources that an individual can obtain so that they can have recovery. And that's what we like to call it, recovery within their mental health, is to try to recover them, get them in recovery so that they can get back to as stable as possible.
Right.
And that can be from the substance side of it, substance abuse or substance use side of it, as well as the mental health. But I think the word mental health and mental illness is scary for so many people
Right. Yes.
because it makes you look at me different. But it shouldn't make you look at a person any different than if they tell you they had cancer or if
Right.
they had
Right.
heart disease. The brain is an organ as well. And I think if we are able to have that dialogue to talk about it and to not have it looked at as such a monster, because that's what I mean, really, when you think about when you hear the word mental illness, people kind of, they shake, they get nervous, they get anxious,
Mhm.
and it's life. I mean, your mental
Right.
wellness is how you navigate life. It's how you self-regulate. It's how you respond to conflict in life. It's how you think. It's how you behave. And
Mhm.
it's how you feel. And if you look at it from a spiritual side of it, God created us with these feelings, these emotions. And so we just
Right.
need to learn how to handle them in the appropriate way. And a lot of times, some of our mental illnesses or disorders are brought on because of some experiences that we may have had in our past, childhood
Mhm.
trauma, trauma just in general, adverse childhood experiences, which you may hear throughout the community as the ACEs. And so, a lot of times, when individuals experience something in their childhood and didn't heal from it, didn't work through it properly, it affects them as an adult. So they
That's
become this adult that has not healed whatever happened in their childhood.
wow. Wow, that's deep. So I wanted to ask too, because I you did mention like prior, like with when they used to do the stray jackets and the do they even have that still?
Not the
With
straight
some
jackets,
of
but I
those?
mean, if an individual is so aggressive, they may be restrained, but not necessarily.
Right.
It is not what you would see in the movies.
Not like padded walls or nothing like that.
But
Okay.
our goal is to keep them safe as well as to keep
Right.
the staff safe. So there is a lot of training that takes place, especially the ones that work in the hospitals, to be able to restrain them properly and with as least the minimal amount of harm as possible. Because the
Right.
goal is not to hurt them; is to get them safe.
To get them safe.
Mhm.
Wow. Yes, that's what it's all about. The so the I mean that's good because that's why I wanted to bring you on tonight because you're educated on it and
Just a little bit.
all about it. I consider you as a professional.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
and
most people know more about it than they think they do because most of us have some type of lived experience.
right.
If I talked about on other platforms that my dad was an alcoholic, so my lived experience is having a father or a parent who abused alcohol. I don't know if there was any underlying mental illness there. Looking back, hindsight, I believe that there was, but he was never diagnosed, and that's another thing that happens within the community of people of color is either misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed.
Mhm.
And one statistic that I saw was that African Americans are typically diagnosed more so with the diagnosis of schizophrenia than our
Mhm.
white counterparts.
Wow.
Um, and again, that's those stereotypes.
Right.
And so, it looks, for some individuals, it might look less harmful if you say this person has depression versus they have a diagnosis of schizophrenia.
Right. Right. So and also too, like you mentioned, depression, because depression and anxiety that can be a form of uh, mental illness as well. Is
Absolutely.
that right?
We have major depressive disorder, you have generalized anxiety disorder, you have social anxiety disorder. So there are different forms of your mood disorders, which include bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, all with so and there's so many different disorders that we don't have
Right.
enough time to sit here and name them
Right.
all. But those are your general ones would be like your anxiety disorders, your depression disorders, bipolar personality disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder. And then when you look at the younger ones, you have your conduct disorder or impulse control disorder. So, and There's a lot of them.
Wow.
There's a lot of
Wow. Yes, I can only imagine.
them.
Wow, that is something. So as far as mental health, because like you said, majority of the time when someone mentioned about mental health, or I just actually learned recently that you can actually be put on FMLA. I spoke with someone recently, and I was like, wow, because I would have never thought
Right.
that was possible, but you can be placed on FMLA with if you've been diagnosed with mental health. And a lot of people normally frown on it because the first thing they look at, and some still do it today, well, she crazy. You better not fool her. She crazy. And that's one thing too that make a lot of people afraid to share what's going on with them because of what everybody's saying.
Yeah. And that makes it hard. Like if you know that you're going to have this label of being crazy,
Mhm.
then it keeps you from wanting to look into it further to see what help is out there for you. Believe it or not, a lot of individuals are ashamed of walking into the mental health clinic because, especially if it's within the area that they live in, they
Mhm.
are afraid that somebody's going to either see them coming in or see them coming out.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I've said to them, well, one thing is if they sitting in this lobby, y'all here together. So
Right.
I
Right.
can't say too much, but I understand that sometimes it just could be somebody driving by, and just that
Right.
part of it is fearful for them. And that's why we want to have these conversations about mental illness and mental health, because we want to make it normal to talk about these things. We want to make it the norm that we have conversations just like we have cancer awareness or diabetes awareness. We want mental health awareness to be an open conversation, because not just for our adults but our kiddos and our teenagers,
Right.
they face this every day,
They.
and they don't know how to handle life situations. And so which is when you don't have a healthy mental health, then you don't know how to respond to things. You don't know how to respond appropriately to things, and then that's when the danger signs and the red flags come up, and that's when we come into play.
Right.
I
Right.
was
You made a good point there because you're right. Everyone free to talk about cancer,
Mhm.
all type domestic. They even talk about domestic violence,
Yeah,
but you don't never hear anyone want to just talk about mental health.
right.
You don't
We
hear.
getting there though, Frida. We getting
Yeah,
there, but I still feel like we have a long road to
a
go.
long way to go. Yeah, yeah. It's much better than it used to be back in the day. Now another thing too, I remember because even myself, I'm gonna say I would never say that, oh, I need to see a therapist, or
Mhm.
because that stigma where with if somebody think I'm going to see a therapist, like, what's she going to see a therapist for? What? But now it seems like it's more common, and a lot of people are open up about it. I see a lot of people posting it. It's like, I talked to my therapist today, and it's an or so now I think a lot of people are getting more comfortable with
Yeah.
it because everybody's doing it, and getting help, and all the time too. When it comes to like mental illness, is it all the time? Do you have to necessarily put place on medication, or
No,
it's okay? Okay.
no, it just depends on the situation. There are antidepressants, there are anxiety medications, there are antipsychotic medications. So it depends on how severe the individual diagnosis is. The goal of it is to get you to a point to where you can function daily. So with depression, a lot of people think that depression is just crying, like you're just sad. But depression
Right.
shows up in many ways. Depression may show up in one term that I don't like individuals to use, or that it makes me cringe when I hear them say this and they don't know really what's going on with the person. Oh, she's just lazy. Well, a
Mhm.
person with clinical depression, their energy level is like zero. They
Mhm.
constant fatigue, no motivation, no energy to do. I'm like, it is. You heard the term where if all you did was get out of bed today, you did a good job. That's
Right.
where that term comes from, because sometimes somebody who has clinical depression, they don't want to do anything. Like it is. a hardship for them to get up and even wash their face or brush their teeth. They have no desire to do that. There's something within them that is holding them back from just doing the minimal daily living activities, let alone go to work and do a job. So when you look at a person's performance, if you see things are changing about them, um, weight loss, and they're not necessarily trying to lose weight or weight gain, and
Mhm.
they're not necessarily trying to gain weight. If you see that they used to be this high energetic person and then suddenly they don't want to do anything, they isolate.
Right.
And some people are just introverts. They don't want to be amongst a lot of people, but you can tell the difference.
The difference, right.
Right. So again, that's where education is important, because if you know that this person, they lazy, but what if there's something else that's going on?
Going on. Wow. So if you did notice someone, a change in someone, like even maybe, someone that's real close to you,
Mhm.
it'll be easier to say something to them sometime. But what if you do notice a change in a friend, like you hadn't talked to them in a while? What type of approach, how would you approach them with it?
Well, first, there is such a thing called mental health first aid. So, like if somebody cuts themselves or they break a leg, you provide first aid to them for that. Well,
Hmm.
there's such a thing as mental health first aid, and there are some agencies like the library will provide it for free. You actually get a certificate, and it lasts 3 years, where they train you on how to approach an individual that may be having a mental health crisis.
Wow.
The biggest thing is one, non-judgmental,
Hmm.
because we're quick to say, get over it. You
Hmm.
got all these things in here. Why are you feeling sad? What you got to be sad about? Like,
Right.
we go straight to that versus how can I help you? So, again, assess the situation, determine if it's something that needs to go beyond your expertise or what you know, and support. Support is a big thing. You need me to go someplace with you? Do you need me to call somebody with you or for you? Do you need me to just sit with you?
Right.
That's a key thing, is that support, and letting them know that I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help.
Right. All right. That's good. Because I've seen where, because some people, if you don't really know what someone is going through, like you said, like some people, it's like, oh, she's lazy or he's lazy.
Hmm.
And then I mean, something's going on with them, but you're not really aware of it. And then you get upset because, like, you just crying all the time, but you don't get up. You're just doing the same thing, same
Hmm.
thing. So, that will make them like just go into that shell and really don't say nothing
Absolutely.
because they already looking like, well, wow, she's judging me. She don't
Yeah.
even know what's going on with me. Oh yeah, okay. So
And we like to say, see something, say something. My
right,
middle son is big on that. When I tell you, if he notices somebody is having a mental health crisis, he will, mama, he will call me,
you gonna
and
talk,
I'm fine with that. I appreciate that. Um,
right?
my baby boy will do it too, but mainly my middle son. It's like if he knows somebody's going through, hey, you can talk to my mama. And
Hmm.
yes, and I will talk to them and I get them to the person that they need to talk to. So that's a big thing as well. And as we mentioned, 988, you can call on behalf of that person and they'll guide you through what needs to take place.
Wow, that is good. And I want to. Well, this is kind of like off topic, but about when you were saying your sons never noticed something, they'll be like, "Call my mom, my
Mm-hmm.
daughter." The one that you had prayed for, my baby daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Back, one day we were sitting here, and she was like, "Mama," she said, "Not like everybody a part of Broken with Hill." She said, "But the lady," she said, "That's Miss Rhonda, right?" I said, "Yeah." She said, I really like her the most. Said she prayed for me so hard. She said, "I really love that." She
Oh,
said, "But I like her all, but she's my favorite." That's what
oh, I like her too. I love her too.
she.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
We go
but
to
yeah,
bat for our babies now, and that's your baby is my baby. My baby is your baby. So we're gonna take
yes,
care of each other's babies.
yes. Look, your babies make me look like a midget.
Look, they make me look like a midget. All three of them taller than I am. So yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yes. Well, this has been a great, great, great conversation. You gave a lot of information as far as resources, because like you said, a lot of people are not familiar with where they can contact or who they can
Mhm.
call as far as resources. And also, I've never ever heard of a crisis line 988
Mhm.
ever. So right, so that's
Well, they
good
actually
too.
just celebrated a year, maybe a few weeks ago. And
Wow.
one of the call centers is in Charleston.
Oh really?
Yeah, I believe
Oh
that's where it is. Mhm.
wow. Okay.
The
Okay.
it's supposed to be that the high school students on the back of their school ID is 988 is supposed to be on there, but we did registration today for Christian and it doesn't have 988, but it does have some phone numbers on the back of it that the
Mm-hmm.
students can reach out to if they are having are in a mental health crisis.
The crisis. Oh wow.
Mhm.
Now that's good. That's good. And you all, the most important thing, remember what she said, be non-judgmental, access the situation and support. Support. Do not judge. And I've actually heard people say like, "Oh, she's so lazy." But
Mhm.
see, my term, like you did give more input as far as like depression, because I've never thought it would be like, like how you described it. When I
Low
think of
energy, tired
depression,
all the time.
I think of like sleeping a lot, don't want to be
Mhm.
bothered with nobody,
Mhm.
staying in bed, just
Having a hard time concentrating because you have these
right,
intrusive thoughts. You're feeling hopeless. You're feeling like abandoned. You're feeling rejected. You feel like don't nobody care about you. You don't feel like you're worthy. So a lot of times you can't concentrate if your mind is constantly going to those negative thoughts.
right,
Yeah.
right. That is so true.
And
Yeah.
understand that our mental health can show up in our bodies as well as physical issues can show up in our mental health, which is one reason before we do a mental health status exam, we would like to know if this individual has had a physical exam to rule out, because especially like in elderly people, if they have a UTI, a urinary tract infection, it
Mm-hmm.
can show up with confusion, it can show up with them hallucinating, and so we want to be able to rule that out before, because we are treating hallucinations or a psychotic break, but this person just had a UTI. Or somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's diabetic, and if they diabetic is uncontrolled, it can show up with them being confused.
Right,
Sometimes diabetic individuals that have diabetes, like if they get stopped by the police, they appear to be under the influence, but they're having a
mm-hmm.
medical crisis.
Crisis.
So we try to want to rule out any physical issues that could be showing up as a mental issue. They
Wow.
work together. They work together. And again, that's that piece of that education that we just got to get out in the communities and talk about it.
And talk about it.
In
Yes.
rural areas, which is a not necessarily a minority because you have everybody living in rural areas, but lack of technology, not having Wi-Fi or not having good Wi-Fi could be a factor of why they don't seek help. As we talked about, insurance or underinsured individuals can't afford it because mental health, even your community mental health centers,
Mm-hmm.
there's a cost. It's not free.
Right.
So that fear now, your community mental health centers that are state run,
Mm-hmm.
they won't turn anybody down. If you cannot pay, now you will rack up a bill, so I want to make that clear. But
Mm-hmm.
they won't turn you away if you cannot pay for services. They do have a reduced fee payment plan that individuals can engage in.
Okay. So if individual have like Medicaid or something, do they take that, or it's just
They take insurance, but like
mhm,
individuals who may not have any
don't have
insurance,
anything, so they'll still
or
see them?
with the insurance, you may still have a copay, and you just sometimes times are hard, and you just can't pay that
Right.
copay. They will not turn you away.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. So y'all, if anyone's out there was forced to replay, if anyone's out there, uh, know that you won't be turned away, even if you don't have the funds. You can set up arrangements. You will have a bit. You will be billed. It's not free, but you can. You won't be turned around. So that's really great to know, because that's showing the community it's about helping and caring for the people. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
And just research it. There's a lot of research out there about minorities and their lack of getting services when it coming to mental illness. and this is a whole lot. I'm not going to read all of this, but you have different studies that are out there. Over 25% of Black youth exposed to violence have proven to be at high risk for post traumatic stress disorder. These are just some statistics for our kids.
Mm.
Black and Latinx children were about 14% less likely than white youth to receive treatment for their depression. Over
Wow.
25% of Black youth, or I read that one, approximately 10% of white and Hispanic adolescents engaged in alcohol use, compared to 7.3% for Black adolescents and 4.7% for Asian adolescents. And most people probably think it would be higher for African Americans and Hispanics,
Mm.
but this particular statistic showed that it wasn't.
That it wasn't. Wow.
Mhm. Um, In BIPOC community, childhood depression has been associated with increased welfare dependence and unemployment. So when you have
Mm.
higher unemployment, it's just those risk factors, those environmental risk factors that can lead to or be a factor in a person developing a mental illness. So yeah, just educate yourself as well as get talk to somebody, have you have different individuals, mental health professionals that are willing to come to different agencies, to come to churches. I have gone out to churches and talk about mental health. And that's one thing that has really, really made my heart happy is
Mhm.
that the churches are actually wanting to get this information in. Um, you just never know,
Right.
you never know who
You
you're
never
sitting
know.
next to or who you may encounter that may be going through something and you're just the one that has been assigned to help them. So we want to be educated as much as we can.
Yes, yes. So are there any events or anything that's going on that you know of in the future as far as like mental health awareness?
Um, the next thing that will probably be happening within mental health is in September because that is Suicide Prevention Month.
Okay.
And I know Mental Health America puts on a suicide prevention walk. Typically, down there is the park that's by Cornerstone. And
Okay.
um,
Right, in Spartanburg?
yes,
Oh, okay, okay.
but nationally, Suicide Prevention Month will be recognized, and there'll be different events. So yeah, keep your eyes open if you want to participate in any of those events. Individuals will be sharing it through social media and
Mhm.
um, through community. So there'll be some events coming up in regards to that.
Okay. Okay. It's awesome. This has been some great, great information, and I wanted to, get this in the month of July. Before we end it, so I was glad that you were able to come on and be a part. And I know you probably had a busy day today, so thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your expertise with us, and just letting the people know, making them aware of what resources are available. The different stigmas and the things not to do. To
Yeah,
pay attention to your loved ones, to your friends. Don't just assume.
right.
Support them. And before we leave tonight, was there any like final words that you wanted to share tonight?
Final words is support, support, support. Get educated, learn about mental illness and the signs that you need to be aware of, and find out and learn about the resources that are in the community to help your loved ones.
Yes.
NAMI is one that provides a support group for family members because, and I won't tell you, I'm a straight shooter. Working or living with an individual that has specifically a severe mental illness, it is hard is like the equivalent of someone that has dementia or has Alzheimer's.
Mm.
So, especially if they don't want to seek treatment,
Right.
you need that support. And so, NAMI is a great organization that provides support for individuals that have loved ones that have a diagnosed mental illness.
Okay. And NAMI, are you saying NAMI like NAMI?
NAMI,
Okay.
National Alliance for Mental Illness.
Okay.
See something, say something. And as I've always told individuals, you are not alone. We are in this together. There are a lot of mental health advocates that are wanting to help you have a voice and be heard and be seen and get the help that you need.
That you need. Yes. Awesome. 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 I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being a part of Spotlights with Frida.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to end on tonight. Y'all heard it tonight. See something, say something. And we'll say good night.
Good night.